Welcome again to the big match. Well, Jim and I are back in business again today after that takeover by the players last week, and I can tell you we've got plenty of good things for you as well. Our three matches today are Chelsea against the champions, Derby County, also Leicester City against West Ham, and as our bonus match this week, one of the top ones from the second division, Sheffield Wednesday against Queen's Park Rangers. Also today, as we leave 1972 behind us, we glance back at some of the moments that caught our fancy, and we hope we'll catch yours as well. But first, the immediate action as we go off to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea faced Brian Clough's Derby County. Both sides come to the game worried by injuries, particularly Chelsea, who have no fewer than 7 of their first-team squad out of action. Marvin Hinton now gets his first league game of the season at number 6. A common factor between the clubs is that 2 of the brightest youngsters in the game anywhere, but both are banned by England for failing to go on the under-23 tour last summer. For Chelsea, of course, it's Alan Hudson, and for Derby County, their fine defender, Colin Todd. But Derby County also come without 2 excellent players in David Nish and Archie Gemmell, and they now bring back striker John O'Hare into a midfield position, with Roger Davis getting one of his rare chances in the number 9 shirt. So now the crowd at Stamford Bridge waits for referee Bill Gow of Swansea to get the action underway.
So Chelsea then kick off, defending the goal to our right, and a long kick into that Derby County half from Alan Hudson. Chelsea wearing blue, and Derby County in the white shirts with black shorts, defending the goal to our left. So a quick touch of the ball for Colin Bolton, their goalkeeper. Derby County, such a fast-rising side, now lying 7th in the table after a very poor start to the season, but most of their good work has been done, in fact, at the baseball ground. Only 6 of their 26 points in the first division having been won away from home. Only 2 away wins all season. Here's the kick. O'Hare. Webster turning it back to Bolton. A little bit of luck there, going between Hudson's legs. Hinton, not quite judging it, but recovering well enough and finding Hudson. But now Davis. And they went and waited whose the throw it was. O'Hare goes through, and a deflection there. Unluckily for Chelsea, going Derby's way, and O'Hare, the scorer, with only 8 minutes gone. Chelsea, in a sense, only themselves to blame, because they were prepared to argue about whose throw-in it was, and while they argued, Davis took it, and the situation was always going away from Chelsea and towards O'Hare and Derby. So there's the score then. Derby County leading by a goal to 0. A touch of fluke about it, but John O'Hare, the man who got it. And now Harris. Hudson. Harris again. Played this time for Osgood very deep, coming hard from a deep position. And still going on, Peter Osgood. And still going on, Osgood. Now will he turn this back? He has! And Hudson, and it's kicked off the line. Turned back again by Boyle. A beautiful run by Peter Osgood. Hinton turning it in quickly. And now Derby getting it away to Davis, but still Chelsea there. Boyle switching it wide again for Peter Osgood. That's got the crowd going. This side he's coming inside McGovern. Playing it this time for Boyle. And then McFarlane. Dempsey. Back for Phillips. A tremendous run by Osgood. That really showed all the power and pace of Peter Osgood coming from such a deep position. It's Webb. Osgood again. A little touch inside, beautifully played there for Hudson. Chelsea beginning to find some form now, and it needed a good header away by Webster, and then Hennessy, and he's claiming first of all that Harris kicked him on the head, which he didn't, but he caught him in the chest, and he wanted to argue with Harris and the referee about it. Much better let the referee do it himself. Todd also looks as though he's got a cut on the nose, bleeding rather profusely there as Jimmy Gordon puts the wet sponge to work. But Dave Sexton with Eddie McCready in the spectacles. got a lot of worrying times ahead, really, with the match at Norwich on Wednesday as well. So Todd is all right, and Colin Bolton now with the clearance for Derby. O'Hare's header. Nice 1-2 there between Hollins and Harris sending Hollins away again, but Todd again, once more, streaking across there. The number 6 for Derby County. A real model defender and a tremendous barrier Todd and McFarland are making for Chelsea this afternoon. Again a throw to Chelsea. Chelsea crowd beginning to get behind the men in blue as Harris takes the throw. Hudson out jump. Hollins going in to make life difficult for Hennessy. Harris in again, and it comes to Osgood. Now, can he do anything? And now for Hollins! And down goes Bolton, and he went down very bravely indeed as Hollins went in with his challenge. The referee going to Hollins, and Derby not happy. But I must say from my angle, it looked as though Hollins, although the ball was in the goalkeeper's grasp, which I suppose is the fundamental thing, Hollins in fact made contact with the ball. Hinton to Davis, and into touch, and another throw again to Chelsea. Hollins with it. Hollins again with the throw for Chelsea. Dempsey, Baldwin, and again McFarland in as the ball goes out of play. Well, Chelsea always like to encourage all sorts of lads here, and here are one or two of the less fortunate ones, but no doubt thoroughly enjoying the afternoon. But I know one or two of them would love to see Chelsea get that equaliser. Hutchinson's long throw. The back header there by Webb, and Dempsey going in, and Baldwin just failing. Just failing. That was a variation on his long throw, much lower trajectory, and a nice back header by number 2 David Webb, and Baldwin just unable to get the foot that mattered to it. So a good throw by Hutchinson, causing Derby a problem. And now Hudson, and that sends Harris on his way, and again Roy McFarland in there. Very quickly, very swiftly. Always in control. Davis. That's the ball for Hector. McGovern's gone into the middle for him, and Davis is there as well, but it's still with Hector in possession. Oh, and he dumb it beautifully there. Past Hinton, that gave him just a sight of the goal. Really went running hard at Hinton there. Little wave of the hips, and it sent Hinton just far enough to one side to give him the sight at goal. Hollins back for Webb. Daniel rather lost the flight of that one, but Baldwin is there, and the ball stays in play, and it's with Alan Hinton. Another example of a bad piece of passing here this afternoon, but there's a good 1-2 going between Boyle and Hollins, and it's Boyle now for Chelsea. In for Osgood. But he's got problems keeping McFarland away, but Harris going in hard. Making one or two very adventurous sorties down that left is Ron Harris, remembering the blistering goal he got at the baseball ground earlier this season when Derby lost 2-1 to Chelsea in the league. Chelsea get a corner now. Alan Hudson with it. And Osgood went in, and Bolton needed to fist that away. Webb turning it back again. And Hutchinson given offside. And so a free kick to Derby County. Hudson, who's done some brilliant scheming in the middle of the field, needs to continue to do that if Chelsea are going to keep in this game. And now it's Hector, played wide again for Hinton. We've not really seen one of his shots so far this afternoon. There's a curling cross, but Harris on the end of it to nod it away. And in goes McFarlane quickly. But now Hollins, Hutchinson, and McFarlane is still way up in that attacking position. Hudson on the far side. McGovern is right back there with him. Here's the cross by Hudson, and Todd there once more. If McFarlane's not there, Todd is. But it's Osgood, and then O'Hare gets it away. McGovern. Well, it was the good quick break by Chelsea, particularly with McFarlane right out of position. Webb. But there was a foul there on Roger Davis, giving Derby the free kick. As we go into injury time at the end of the first half. And Hutchinson limping off on the far side. Ian Hutchinson is limping off on the far side, which is a sad sight. He was hurt in a challenge with Roy McFarlane halfway through the first half. As the whistle then goes for half-time, and Derby with a useful one-goal lead, scored by John O'Hare after 8 minutes, when Chelsea were waiting and appealing after a throw-in had been taken. That's the goal that separates the two sides, but still a lot more to come for you on the big match this afternoon. Our 2 other games, but the half-time score here at Stamford Bridge reads Chelsea 0, Derby County 1, and we'll be back with the second half from Stamford Bridge in just a couple of minutes.
Time goal. 7 minutes, 24.
Welcome back, and as you see, Chelsea have got their substitute on. 19-year-old Ian Britton, a young Scot, a tough little boy from Dundee, a midfield player, on for Ian Hutchinson, who limped off just before half-time. Britton, who's been showing some brilliant form in the reserves this season, according to manager Dave Sexton. Webb. But Derby still leading by this 1 goal. And there's Britton with his first real touch of the ball. Boyle. Hollins. Still with Hollins, but straight to Webster. And now Todd. Daniel being challenged by the youngster Britton. Derby quite prepared to play it very cool, and again keep seeking out their goalkeeper with these long back passes. Peter Daniel. And another long pass. Back to the goalkeeper. Very negative indeed. There he is, the young boy Ian Britton, his first appearance in a Chelsea first team shirt. Derby's throw. And another throw. Again to O'Hare. Maybe he'll pick someone up a little quicker than he did the last time. Yes, he has, because McGovern's gone to help him. Davis. Very difficult to shake off a ball, this young Roger Davis. And he crossed that beautifully, and Phillips did well too. That was a good piece of play by the tall number 9, the youngster that Derby brought from Worcester City, Roger Davis. But now it's Britton. Beaten by Hinton. Back with Daniel. Dempsey's header. David Webb. Forward to Osgood, killed beautifully there. This Boyle going on. Todd, Davies, and Hennessy. Played for Hinton. In goes Baldwin, and Hinton gets it again. Chelsea's throw. Hudson to Webb. Dempsey. Boyle's jump. He got a nudge in the back from McGovern for his pains, and so Chelsea get a free kick. John McGovern. David Webb's free kick. Osgood going for it, and Osgood will keep it. Turning it nicely there for Ron Harris, and inside again for Hollins. Oh, and he missed by a fraction. That would have been such a tremendous goal, with Osgood and Harris combining so well, and Hollins surging as he does so often. O'Hare. Davis playing on again for O'Hare, with a chance to cross it, and he did well there. And in fact, it took Dempsey to get in there to put it behind for the corner. Dempsey, I suppose, feeling he could take no chances, although John Phillips was beautifully placed behind him to gather it up. So Derby get a corner. Roy McFarlane again has come up. Terry Hennessy's just gone through the picture. Roger Davis is already up there. Roy McFarlane, who scored 6 goals this season, you may depend a good percentage of them have come from corner kicks. Here's Hinton then with the corner for Derby. But Chelsea going out there in tremendous weight of numbers. O'Hare turning it back again, and now McFarlane, and a good point-blank save by John Phillips from Roy McFarlane. And it's Hudson. Well, that scare at one end has got the Chelsea crowd going again. Alan Hudson now. The flick forward there, the chip forward to Hollins. Hennessy in very close attendance, and Hennessy again doing his job well. McGovern. Davis. Played for Todd. Very rarely have we seen Todd coming out of that deep defensive position this afternoon. Hinton to Boyle. And Osgood again offside. The linesman on this side flagging. Look of disgust on Peter Osgood's face, but again the linesman directly in line. McFarlane, or rather McGovern. And Chelsea's throw. John Hollins taking it. Baldwin. Britton. Hudson. Oh, he nicked that nicely between those Derby defenders. There's Boyle. And Daniel finally putting it in touch again. Boyle and Britton. Hinton towards Osgood. He got up well there, turned it inside again towards Britton. Looking to find Osgood again, and it went off a Derby player, so Chelsea get another throw. Britton took a couple of Derby players with him there, and that's why there was so much room for Hinton. And there's the shot by Hudson, and a deflection that went just wide. Looked as though there was a minor deflection after Hudson had hit it, and presumably that must have come off a Chelsea player as well, because the goal kick is given, and Derby still leading by a goal to nil. Scored by John O'Hare after 8 minutes. Hector to Hennessy, and Hector again. Hennessy. And a free kick again to Derby County for the foul on Hennessy by Alan Hudson, right on the corner of that penalty area. Hinton's going to take it, curling it again, and McFarlane was right in there, and Dempsey gets it away, but not very far because O'Hare again is following up. Back once more for Hinton, and again a difficult looking cross. Hector right in there, Kevin Hector, but it's been disallowed. There was an infringement there, and Derby, instead of being 2 goals up, remain 1 goal up, and Chelsea are still in the hunt because referee Bill Gow has disallowed it. Webb at the moment about 15 yards offside, then coming back. Now Hollins. Webb right in there. But Todd, cool and masterful again at the back for Derby County. Now Harris. Hollins. The chip forward again, but straight to the boot of McFarlane. Hinton getting in. Chelsea really have got to continue getting in first now and find some way past that combination of McFarlane and Todd and Hennessy. Osgood. Sent 2 men off balance there, and a beautiful ball for Baldwin, and a cross that is well held by Bolton. Some beautiful football there by Chelsea. Sparked off by Osgood and carried on by Baldwin, and finished off by Colin Bolton with a fine save. Derby still hanging on now to this 1-goal lead. Chelsea have beaten Derby twice this season in the league at the baseball ground and in the League Cup replay here at Stamford Bridge. McGovern. Davis. Britain getting in, come hell or high water there, and he wasn't penalised for it. And now Harris. The long ball forward again. Osgood right up there. Webb is in there too. And here's Baldwin coming forward again. And that's over the head of them all. And it took Webster to get it away. But again, there's the example of how Webb is such a destroying influence in an opposing penalty area, causing men to worry all the time. Britain a little touch forward for Osgood. And he's got it through, and he has! Yes, Peter Osgood! Peter Osgood, the scorer, when there seemed no chance at all of a goal. He turned and he curled it just wide of the Derby defence and just inside that far post. A truly brilliant goal from Peter Osgood. Brings him into double figures for the season and brings the scoreboard back to 1-1. And now Hinton for Derby, and that really will liven things up. And certainly the gamble then of playing David Webb up front has caused 1 or 2 quivers in this previously unshakable Derby County defence. And now it's all level. Ian Britton getting it away, and Webb turning it inside. Hollins couldn't quite get on the end. McFarlane now to McGovern, and a free kick as McGovern goes down. Peter Osgood playing so much of the first half from deep defensive positions, presumably to get away from McFarlane and Todd, played in the true striker's role there to hit that one. Chelsea fans, but now they can hope for something more maybe in the 15 minutes or so that remain. Boyle again, and Hudson has gone on, and so too has Little Britain. But Hennessy there, but Boyle will get another chance. Hudson. It has the ball taken off him by McFarlane, and McGovern is there, bobbing into that little situation there, and onside! The linesman has kept his flag down. Now here's a chance for Roger Davis. He's gone past. Oh, and what a miss! That, unquestionably, is the miss of the season. The miss of the season for poor Roger Davis. All he had to do is what I suppose 99% of the people in the crowd would say I could have done, and that was tap it into the goal. He'd done all the possible hard work, brilliantly rounded John Phillips, and then one little tap would have been enough, and that almost certainly would have been 2 points. Poor Roger Davis. If Stamford Bridge could open up, he'd be only too pleased. And there goes the final whistle, and it finishes a 1-1 draw. The goal for Derby County scored by O'Hare after only 8 minutes, John O'Hare, and Peter Osgood scoring the equaliser for Chelsea in the second half, and it finished 1-1. It could so easily and should have finished 2-1 to Derby, but for that incredible miss right at the end by Roger Davis, the number 9 for Derby. And so after it all, we come to a final scoreline here at Stamford Bridge that reads Chelsea 1, Derby County 1.
So Chelsea still need to find the right rhythm to take with them to that cup semi-final at Norwich on Wednesday, and I'm sure now, well, they are sure now to be without Ian Hutchinson. Poor old Hutch, his knee puffed up again, and he's going to be out of the game for about 3 weeks. But now for his view, at least, on one or two of the personalities in that game, Jimmy Hill.
Well, contrary to what a lot of people think about television, that we only eulogise games and find the good things to say about them, I didn't enjoy that match very much yesterday. Maybe it was a game for the experts, but it certainly wasn't one for the fans. The game was locked in defence, and it didn't really flow at any time. Derby County most efficient in defence, and Chelsea, with so many injuries, not striking the fluent football that they were playing in early in the season, and not really able to break down that Derby defence. The Derby defensive tactics, typical of the away-winning tactical formation that enables them to get nearer the top of the league, didn't really allow us any bright entertainment. There was one moment of glory that shone through the gloom. That was Peter Osgood's goal, but his whole performance, I think, bears looking at again. Peter Osgood, we've drawn attention to him before, a player who can be moody. McFarlane says that if he plays all the game, there's no better centre-forward in the world. But just let's look at him now and look at his football brain, the speed with which he spots runs. He was immediately aware there of Harris's run up on the left wing, and we see it again now with John Hollins. He doesn't take a moment really to realise what's going on round him. The ball comes here from Harris, and there's the little flick off. He's seen Hollins run on the left and got the ball through to him immediately. He's very clever with his skill on the ball. Just look at this dummy now that he throws there. So simple, so neat, yet so effective. And of course the goal itself. Arthur Rowe said that football is a simple game, it's only the players who make it difficult. Look at this goal for simplicity. If this isn't making goal scoring easy, then I don't know what is. One dummy, a turn, he's seen the hole there in the corner of the net and glided the ball in. A great performance by Peter Osgood.
Well, I mentioned earlier in the programme that England ban on two of the players out there yesterday, Alan Hudson and Colin Todd, and afterwards I had the chance to talk to them about it and ask them if they were still worried by the situation.
I think it's forgotten now, you know.
By you?
Well, I'm sure Colin as well. As far as football's concerned, if we think about that all the time, it get on our, nerves sort of thing, and we miss out on the games, the league matches.
Yeah, it was clearly a big disappointment for you, Colin, but I mean, would you agree with Alan there?
Yeah, I think we've just got to keep playing as we are, keep trying our hardest and hope that things turn for the better for us.
I mean, if in fact you could turn the clock back those few months, would you still say you were too tired and not go on the tour?
Well, it was the travelling that got me down more than anything else. I wasn't tired through playing games and that. It was the travelling, and never seen the wife or the kiddie, so just decided to go away for a rest,
But would you do it again now?
Yeah, I think I would do, knowing what's happened. Well, I think I always stick by me judgment, and I would do it again.
Has Sir Alf been in touch with you at all since then? Have you had any words at all?
Not with me personally, I don't know what's happened outside that.
What about you, Alan? I mean, you didn't go because you had your house to look after and your wife was expecting a baby. Now,
yeah.
I mean, would you think that you were wrong to put that first?
Well, not really. At the time, I thought I did the right thing, and now when I look, my boy's 3 months old now, and when I look at him, I think if I had gone on tour, and you never know, anything might have happened. He could have been any differently. I'd have kicked myself. So
yeah,
he's well, and that's the main thing,
Yeah. So you don't regret?
Not
what
at all.
happened?
No.
Are you still hopeful? About 74?
I've got my fingers crossed, yeah, but can't say no more than that, really.
I think a lot of people have. You hopeful too, Colin?
Yeah, very hopeful, yeah.
Well, hopeful the lads may be, but there are playing reasons, apart from the political reasons, why I think that Sir Elf can continue to ignore them for a bit anyway, because as well as Colin Todd's playing, so is Bobby Moore. He's in as good a form as ever, and while Elf's got him, he doesn't need to worry about Colin Todd. But Alan Hudson, as a midfield player, and I think he knows this too, has got to get his name on the scoring sheet if he's going to put pressure on Sir Elf. It's essential that midfield players get their name on the sheet, the scoring sheet, just a few times in a year. Doesn't mean to say he's got to get 30 goals, but he should be aiming to get 10. And I think he's nervous about it. This showed up yesterday when Peter Osgood, who we pick up here, made this fantastic run down the right, and he lays on an open goal. Now, I think a goal-happy player would have taken this chance with his instep. But Alan Hudson tried to make certain there and side-footed it, which gave Terry Hennessy the chance to read the shot and block it. He's a good instep kicker when it comes to passing, but at the moment of shooting times as we see here, he can miss-hit and scuff the ball, not quite the concentration needed to make sure that he gets the meat of the boot behind it. But it can be done, as he shows in the second half there. There's Alan Hudson really knowing the target in front of him. I'm sure Dave Sexton knows that too. But if you've got midfield players scoring, apart from the strikers, then you've got 6 players there adding to the goal tally. And it's very important, if you want to be an England player, that you put your name on the scoring sheet. So much for that. So I think that as long as Bobby Moore plays well, and as long as Alan Hudson doesn't score, then Sir Elf can sleep contentedly.
Well, another view on that England ban of those 2 players, and a very forthright view indeed, comes inevitably, I suppose, from the Derby County manager, Brian Clough.
Well, it's ridiculous. I'm certain it'll be put right. I don't think Sir Alf was here today. In fact, we haven't seen a lot of him all season. But I'm certain he gets reports about Colin Todd, and certainly gets reports about young Hudson. And I'm absolutely equally certain that he will have them back in the squad as soon as he can.
Well, so much for that then, and we come now to our second match today, which is also our bonus match, and it's Sheffield Wednesday against Queen's Park Rangers at Hillsborough. Good to see the crowds coming back to that famous old ground, more than 20,000 of them there yesterday. Yorkshire's cameras were there as well, with commentator Keith Macklin, and Queen's Park Rangers here in the plain shirts with the white shorts.
John Sissons with the throw. Rodrigues. Only one man in the penalty area. That's a good ball to Craig. Craig trying to step past Venables. Venables recovering at the second attempt. No, he's not. It's still Wednesday. It's Sunley. Sissons. Sissons trying to the left foot. That's a swerving shot. Goal! Tommy Craig has got it again. One of the Tommy Craig specials that either go in or miss by miles. And that one was in from the moment he left his foot. In the 8th minute of the match, Tommy Craig's 8th goal of the season. Sunley. Joycey couldn't quite bring it under control. Hooked away only as far as Clement. Sissons. Craig. Tempting to give it back, but Watson there to pick it up. And Watson again. Francis through to Bowles. Fine ball player when he gets in his stride, Bowles. That's for Thomas. Thomas trying to go round Rodrigues. Oh, good cross. What a good goal. What a beautifully worked goal. The scorer Leach. Thomas, the man who made it, with a beautiful cross. And a superb header by Leach puts Queen's Park Rangers level. Magnificently worked goal. Bowles, the pass out to Thomas. Thomas round Rodrigues and a fine cross, and the header that finished it all off from Leach. Watson into touch. Watson again getting in the way. Throw to Wednesday again. Dell was appealing that that was Rangers' ball. Sunley. Prendergast. A goal! It's been promised for some. It looks like Coyle, no, Coyle's got his hands in the air, but the scorer, Prendergast, I think, but a lot of people are raising their fists in the air. The man that's being congratulated will sort out. David Sunley getting a pat on the back. David Sunley, I think, is the man who hit it into the net. Everybody was throwing their arms in the air in delight, but the way the handshakes are being distributed, it looks like David Sunley. Rodrigues. Prendergast did get ahead to it. Watson. Holsgrove thumbing it straight back. Sissons is onside. Gets it back. A header at number 3 on the whistle. Joycey. That's finished it. Sissons put it across beautifully. All Joycey had to do was get his head to the ball, and he did.
So a setback there for Queen's Park Rangers, not only with the result, but in fact also that they lost their skipper, Terry Venables, with a leg muscle injury. But Rangers go into 1973, still second in the second division, with their hopes still high, I'm no doubt. Which in fact brings us to the point in the programme, the point in the year too, when we look back at some of the most memorable moments of 1972. We've all got moments that we enjoy recalling. I just hope that some of these will be high on your list as well. We start with that dramatic moment at the end of the FA Cup final when Mick Jones of Leeds United badly injured an arm.
Now Jones away. McClintock coming across. Barnett at the near post. Still Mick Jones. And down goes Barnett, and Jones really hadn't got the snap to go by him.
But we can see from our camera behind the goal just how that injury happened. Just watch that arm of Jones. We see it buckle as Barnett comes out to challenge him. Jones falls with all his full weight on that arm. The buckle, the injury, and a very painful one indeed. But Mick Jones, with his arm strapped, still goes up to the royal box. But incidentally, it caused a certain amount of embarrassment up there because his medal had already been given to another Leeds United player, thinking he wouldn't come up. But at least he got a handshake from Her Majesty the Queen. Well, it did seem also that whenever we went to Millwall, something was always happening. And when we went there for their game against Birmingham City, we saw the goal that was to become the winner of our Golden Goals competition, scored, of course, by Derek Possey.
Francis winning again in the air. Bridges with Hind at his heels. Played on for Possey. What a magnificent ball. Possey hitting it. Oh, and a tremendous goal. What a tremendous goal by Possey.
Well, at that point, it looked as though Millwall were on their way to the First Division. And late in April, when they'd beaten Preston, the rumour spread through their crowd that they had, in fact, made it.
And the crowd are absolutely flooding the den at Millwall, because Millwall have won by 2-0. Derek Possey and Barry Bridges, they're two faithful strikers, and the word has crept down from Sheffield that Birmingham were losing up there.
Alas for Millwall, the rumours were wrong and they stayed in the second division. Lucky Arsenal, now that's a famous old cry, and 3 times this season we've heard it again. First, when Charlie George took a penalty at Crystal Palace and left nearly everyone wondering if in fact the ball had crossed the line.
And the referee just going there to make sure that Paul Hammond stays on the line. Must not move before the kick is taken, and it's Charlie George who's going to take it. Are Arsenal going ahead? No! No! Yes, the goal has been given. That must have fractionally cost the line. That must have fractionally cost the line.
Well, a few weeks later, more controversy. Did Jeff Blockley punch that ball away in the game against Manchester City?
Summerby with the throw for Manchester City. Marsh trying to get there first. And again that overhead kick, and again it might have Arsenal in trouble. Lee, yes, and it's a goal. And no, it's not been given. The goal has not been given.
And still more controversy when Arsenal beat Spurs at White Hart Lane. Was that deciding goal a good one, or should it have been offside?
Armstrong. And now Radford's story was offside, but it was all right. Now Radford. And that is going to be number 2. John Radford.
No doubt, though, who the new hero of London football is. It's Don Rogers of Crystal Palace, and he stamped his skills on the First Division with 2 fine goals in that magnificent victory over Manchester United at Selhurst Park.
Whittle. Rodgers, and he's onside, Don Rodgers. Kicks it one side now. That's there. That's number 3. Blythe coming in for Palace. And this has been their greatest afternoon. And there's Rodgers. Will this be 5? It's going to be 5. It is 5.
Need I ask you, I wonder, who the linesman of the year is? Of course, it's Jim. No doubt you remember that occasion at Highbury when Arsenal met Liverpool, when the linesman went off injured, and after a short delay, our hero was out there to save the day.
Who should the emergency linesman be? Jimmy Hill, the man, and the crowd know it and recognise it. The man who's put referees and linesmen under the spotlight for so often, for so long, now is truly under the spotlight himself, and for something like a 50,000 crowd and television as well.
Now, I don't know if you agree, but I think one of the nicest things about the year has been the way that a couple of the more senior players were able to show the youngsters a thing or two. George Eastham of Stoke and Alan Gilzean of Spurs. George Eastham, the perfect setting for his moment, the League Cup final against Chelsea, and it was George who scored the winning goal.
Swept wide there for Terry Conroy. Red shirts are waiting to pounce now. Conroy going past Webb. A delicate chip there, a deep one towards Richie. Nodded down again. And a good save! And Eastham! George Eastham! The old man has done it!
Certainly nobody has played better for Spurs this season than Alan Gilzean. They call him the King of White Hart Lane, and with those delicate flicks of the head, he shows that he can still beat any defence. And our tribute to Alan Gilzean's skill is in fact his fine-headed goal that he scored this season against Stoke City.
Played wide again to Pratt. And the cross this time to Gilzean! Oh, a marvellous goal by Alan Gilzean!
Well, we couldn't complete our look back on the year with a big match without one of those little features that you all seem to enjoy so much. The fun spot, of course. And this is what our lads in the back room made of the moment when Bobby Kerr of Sunderland scored a goal at Birmingham. You could call it our version of football's can-can. Well, let's hope there are just as many happy and indeed memorable moments to look back on when we come to the end of 1973. I'm sure there will be. Right, our last match today is the one involving Leicester City, who've got that hunted look of relegation about them, and West Ham United at Filbert Street. Now, yesterday there was a goal scored in Scotland by Alistair Scott for Queen's Park at East Fife in 5 seconds. Now, that seems almost impossible to me. But at Leicester, at any rate, yesterday, they also had one of the quickest goals in the First Division, scored after only 30 seconds. ATV's cameras were there, commentator Hugh Johns was there. Leicester City are in the all-white strip.
Of North Shields in Northumberland, as is his linesman, Mr. Cross of Solihull, Mr. Warman of Worcester. West Ham get us away, tacking the goal on the left. Leicester in the white strip. On the break now through Farrington. Worthington. Still trying to get a piece of it. Keith Weller. Tomlin. First real attack building up right from the kickoff. Birchenall. Farrington. The first goal. What an incredible moment. The game hasn't been on about 30 seconds. And we've got one in the net already. Leicester then. Farrington. The scorer. Tomlin losing. And now Pat Holland taking on Whitworth. Corner ball. Not a very good crowd here at Leicester this afternoon, and that's well realisable. Conditions for people coming from outlying districts a bit difficult for them. Here's the corner. A bit of a scramble in there. Tommy Taylor took the whack at it. And Tomlin could break out now for Leicester. Farrington going hard down the middle. just a fraction too far in front of him. Aris. It's Bill Bonds on the right side. Here's Pop Robson, shooting chance. And one for Brooking, the equaliser. Yes, it is. Brooking makes it 1-1. 3 minutes of the game gone. Trevor Brooking, scoring his 8th goal of the season, makes it 1-1. Good run by Bill Bonds down the right side. The ball inside for Pop Robson. Leicester defence in a bit of a mess, and Brooking sticks it in. Best on. Whitworth out as far as Bonds. Boyce losing to Tomlin. That's Worthington. Weller setting himself up for a pop. That was a good one too. Didn't he keep that down well? Keith Weller deserved a goal with that little bit of trickery and a fine shot. Best wanting to turn it back. McDowell is there. Bonds has gone on running. Takes Glover with him. Glover gives the corner away, trying to turn it back to Shilton. Corner right side. Looks as though little Johnny Aris is going out there, and they're slowing things up a bit to allow Tommy Taylor to come into the box. And there he goes with him, number 8, Birchenall. Chance on. And Robson, a neat dummy. As Lampard hammered the ball, hoping that he would go over it. Boyce, forward again. That's Whitworth's ball. Birchenall. Fine ball for Glover. Can he get there ahead of Ferguson? Brave goalkeeping by Bobby Ferguson. Really brave stuff. Lampard having his nerve endings exposed a little bit by the skills of young Dave Tomlin. Whitworth with the free kick. Not a good one. Boyce. Pop Robson is deep for West Ham. Holland. Robson. Manley for Glover. Farrington's in a good attacking position if Glover can pick him up, but it's too late now. On for Weller. For Rofe. Weller takes over again, and Aris gets a good tackle in. Touch on by Farrington, and that's Worthington has made it 2-1. 2-1 the scoreline. Well, that ball lobbed into the box. Little touch from Farrington, and Frank Worthington makes it 2-1 to Leicester. Bonds, that's a bad ball out, and Weller puts it forward for Worthington. The chase is on. He has Farrington to his right. The little chip ball, and he couldn't get it over Ferguson. Well, that was a chance to sew the game up. Holland. Farrington chasing him. Tomlin. Roughed out of it that time by Lampard, the free kick, which will suit Leicester, because a few more valuable seconds will come away off referee Howell's watch. Whitworth to take the free kick into the last minute of the game. Worthington knocking it towards Tomlin. Lampard puts it out, so another throw-in. As long as Leicester have got possession of the ball, manager Jimmy Bloomfield, way down below me, will be well satisfied. It's Weller. Out of corner. No! Referee Howell points for the goal kick. And the fans in that corner of the field, who can probably see that incident better than I can from up here, boo them. And Worthington, and again, and it hit Ferguson. Well, how lucky can you get? Or unlucky if you're Frank Worthington.
Well, that's how it finished, a 2-1 victory there for Leicester City. Really quite a run of injuries yesterday, what with Ian Hutchinson going off for Chelsea, Terry Venables going off for Queen's Park Rangers, and in that game at Filbert Street, of course, Trevor Brooking, the man who scored West Ham's goal, he went off with a leg muscle strain as well. Let's hope that's fit for their important match next week against the league leaders, Liverpool. Before we go, just a couple of letters I must mention to you from J. Richardson of Bristol and from P. Conway of Ruislip, both complimenting in glowing terms the work of those three lads who took over from Jimmy and myself last week, David Webb, Alan Mullery and Mike England. I suppose it's nice occasionally to do other people's jobs. What about you on that one, Jim?
Without any doubt, I'd like to referee a football match. You saw earlier on the little moment I had on the line at Highbury, and I so enjoyed that afternoon. I really would love to referee a full Football League match, or even a cup final for that matter, in front of 50,000 people. But that's probably an ambition I'll never be able to fulfill. But what about the man sitting over there, Brian? What would you like to do?
Well, I think, again, an ambition that will never be fulfilled. Instead of shouting goal every week, I think I'd like to be stationed at that near post occasionally, just to flick one in like Alan Gilzine or Kevin Keegan. That's never going to happen. Or even, indeed, like poor old Roger Davis. We should be looking at that again in a moment, of Derby County, who'd even gone round the goalkeeper as well. And I, and I'm sure thousands of others at Stamford Bridge, thought I could have put that one into the net, and he didn't. Well, we'll see that in a moment. That's it. Just time to say a very happy new year to all the lads from the back room who worked so hard on the big match, to you out there as well. And well done to Spurs. See you at Wembley on March the 3rd, a match that will be covered by ITV, that League Cup final. We leave you then with Roger Davis, the moment he'll always want to forget, when it looked as though he must bring 2 points to Derby County. Unaccountably, he missed it.
Hudson. It has the ball taken off him by McFarlane, and McGovern is there, bobbing into that little situation there, and onside. The linesman has kept his flag down. Now here's a chance for Roger Davis. He's gone past. Oh, and what a miss! That, unquestionably, is the miss of the season. The miss of the season for poor Roger Davis. All he had to do is what I suppose 99% of the people in the crowd would say I could have done, and that was tap it into the goal.